Kyle Erickson here. Today I wanted to give you my first impressions on this machine here. It barely fits in frame, which is the 16-inch MacBook Pro with the M1 Pro chip. I've had a bit of time to play around with this laptop. Before getting my hands on this machine, I'd just been using the regular M1. The original M1 MacBook, both the Air and the Pro, are still awesome machines. I know that even having the M1 Pro now, I still use my M1 Mac Mini all the time, but there are definitely advantages to these new MacBook Pros, and I want to get into all that in a minute, but first I just want to go over the design of this machine. This is the first time in probably 6 years or so that we've actually seen something that looks different from Apple. And I gotta say, at first, I didn't really know what to think, but now I really love the look of it. The straight edges and surfaces with round corners kind of move away from the more subtle round surface like on the previous models, which I think is pretty on brand if you look at Apple in the last few years, especially with iPhones and iPads switching to more of a square design. The new MacBook looks pretty thick, but it is kind of deceiving because on previous models it was tapered along the bottom out to the edges, so it would kind of give you the illusion that it was thinner than what it actually was, where the new models are just straight down from the top to the bottom, and it still is a little bit thicker nonetheless. But even with a little bit thicker appearance, I kind of like it. It just seems less flimsy, and I like that while it still has pretty textbook MacBook characteristics, it's still different enough that it isn't just the same frame that we're used to. It seems like everyone likes the addition of the extra ports along each side, along with the introduction of the MagSafe charger. I'm a big fan of these as well. I almost forgot how much I liked using a MagSafe charger after using USB-C for so long. And one big thing for me was the SD card reader. I realize a lot of people doing everyday tasks might not ever touch this, but as a creator, I'm constantly using SD cards to record these videos and take photos, so not having to use a dongle for this is really nice. The HDMI port I'm not super fond of, just because I'm mostly using USB-C to DisplayPort cables now, and I just find the HDMI port is pretty big, but I'm sure there are a lot of people that are really happy that it's there, but I am not one of them. The keyboard has changed up a little bit as well. No touch bar on these models, which is a big win in my books. I've never been a fan of the touch bar. And they've also given the function row key full-sized keys. Not a huge change there, but I do find it a little bit easier to hit the escape and fingerprint keys. The keys themselves feel pretty much the same anything post 2020, but the black backing surrounding the keys is a nice touch, and I think it does make the keyboard look a little bit nicer. These are some pretty cool things and definitely some nice to haves in there, but I want to talk about two things which have impressed me the most: the display and the speakers. Okay, first thing, when I started this thing up, instantly noticed this screen is super nice. It's a Liquid Retina XDR display. Again, this is the 16-inch model, so the resolution here is 3456 by 2234. That's super easy to remember. This is a mini LED display where the old 13-inch MacBook Pros were an IPS panel, and the difference is night and day. Those old regular M1 displays have a max brightness of 500 nits, where the new M1, 14, and 16-inch models have 1000 nits sustained brightness with a max of 1600 nits. And it does have 120 Hz ProMotion in here, so it pretty much blows it out of the water in terms of image quality and just how smooth everything is. It does have a notch, which honestly I haven't really noticed. Maybe that's because I'm already an iPhone user, but the only thing that has really bugged me a little bit is when you go to full screen something. By default, it just wipes out the top of the screen where the notch is, which seems to kind of remove the purpose for full screening a window, which I'm not super happy with, but overall this is hands down the nicest screen in a laptop, especially a MacBook, that I've ever seen personally. Another thing that I almost could not believe was how good the speakers in this laptop are. Like, audio from a laptop just never sounds this good. When I first powered up this MacBook, I was just fooling around and I heard a bit of sound and I was like, wait, did that just come out of this machine? I fired up Spotify right after and I was just really blown away at how good everything sounds. Usually on laptops, you're expecting flat or tinny sounding audio, but these have really full, crisp sound. They're definitely driving up the bar there. Normally I wouldn't even care about something like audio quality on a laptop because it's just a given that it's not going to sound good, but I have to mention it here because it's just head and shoulders above everything else that I've seen. Some other things that I've noticed, the webcam is a lot better quality than on the 13-inch M1 models, which really isn't saying much considering how bad they were on those models, but if you're on video calls a lot, it is noticeably better. As far as performance goes for just doing everyday tasks, web browsing, all that good stuff, I don't think that you're going to notice much difference from the M1 to the M1 Pro. The M1 is already a crazy good chip, likely better than most Intel or AMD alternatives, at least at their price range. So for most average users, it's more than enough. I wanted to see what the difference was with really resource-heavy tasks, so I did just run some quick tests with Blender and Final Cut Pro, and I can tell you in both instances, render times were almost twice as fast. That to me is shocking. I was expecting it to be faster, but not double. Ultimately, I can still do everything on my regular M1 that I can do on the M1 Pro. I think the difference is just how much more time you save yourself doing things. The M1 doesn't slow to a crawl or have trouble running anything, but the M1 Pro is just so fast, so definitely noticeable for things like render speeds and stuff like that. And the crazy thing is, the battery life through all of this has been amazing. I think the 13-inch M1 does technically have a little bit more battery life, which would make sense because the M1 Pro is a lot more powerful of a machine. But for how performant this is running a 16-inch display, I have been really impressed. The 16-inch model itself is a bit of a beast. This machine that I have was actually provided to me for work, so it's mostly going to sit at my desk and be stationary. So it's definitely nice to have the bigger display with more screen real estate there, but if I was going to buy one of these for myself and I was going to be a little bit more mobile with it, I think that I would probably gravitate towards the 14-inch model. Overall, I don't think that you can go wrong with either the 14 or 16-inch models. If you are looking at grabbing one of these, I'll probably make another video when I've loaded this thing up with apps and I've been using it a little bit more. I just want to make sure that I catch any gotchas or take note of anything that comes up along the way. So keep an eye out for that video sometime down the line. If you haven't already subscribed, make sure to do that if you want to see more tech-related videos. Let me know if you have one of these machines and if you like it or if you dislike it or if you've noticed anything with it. I know that these have been out for a little while now, so I'm sure there is a lot of opinions out there. Also, hit that like button if you enjoyed this video. It really does help me out a whole bunch. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.